As a filmmaker, I create a lot of stories and I make films out of them. But today, this episode of She is bigger than any story and any film. I'm fortunate enough to make this episode for all of you. And this heartwarming episode will make you watch it over and again. This episode is dedicated to Captain Anirban Bandyopadhyay, and we will chat with his wonderful and brave mother. Mrs. Bandyopadhyay, we are fortunate to have you on our show, and a mother like you who have sacrificed her only son for the nation. I would like to welcome you on our show and would also like to tell you that you are an inspiration to many mothers, to so many Indians. Ma'am, to start with, I would like to know that you belong to a family. Your husband was a colonel at the Indian Army, your son was a captain. So ma'am, how did it all started, the association with the Indian Army?
My father was one of the original lecturers at the Joint Services Wing, which became National Defence Academy. In fact, he was a student of Harold Lasky and Dudley Stamp at Cambridge, started the subject of geography at Calcutta University, and later he initiated the study of military geography. His books were study material even at the American Air University, because it was a path-breaking thing he was creating. I grew up in a National Defence Academy. It was a wonderful childhood, a wonderful place to grow up. Huge big houses, gardens, cycling about. We could play badminton, we could swim. I met my husband there. He came as an instructor, and that's how we got married. We've been married for 50 years when he died, and it has been a happy life. 2 children. My elder daughter is a senior executive in an insurance company in the USA. And my son, he wanted to join the army from the beginning. He was good at academics, good at sports, swimmer, to sail, rider, junior nationals, medals are here. A sort of daredevil. He did brilliantly in NDA, passed away as BCC, IMA. I have a red blazer which he got for outstanding performance over his whole training period in equitation, that's riding. I really don't know whom to give it to, because other clothes I've given away. But these are like badges of honor. From the beginning, when he was commissioned, the battalion was in Kashmir in counterinsurgency operations. And I could see how dealing with that situation, he was hardly 22, was changing his persona. I remember once he was on short leave at that annual winter Mela at Salt Lake. And I'd gone with him, and I was looking at some jade work from Pakistan, just fingering the things. He pushed that thing away from my hand. Ma, don't look at these things. I said, क्या हो गया बेटे? You're never rude like this. नहीं माँ, यहाँ से चलो. So the very few people realize that constantly battling insurgency, what an effect it has on the individual. I remember a young Sardar officer telling me, he says, "Ma'am, हम गाय वाले पे गोली नहीं करना चाहते, पर वो लोग मेरे पग पे गोली मारा, मैं तो नहीं छोड़ूंगा." Today he is retired and everything. I won't name him, but they do face a lot of trauma, a lot of it emotional.
Ma'am, so coming from a family of Indian Army, were you mentally prepared? Like when your son, as you said, that he always wanted to join the Indian Army. So
No, because since 48, I mean, maybe a few soldiers had died here and there, but he was the first officer to die. My husband himself had been in the 71 war, that too in Punch. So that he would die. But situations were different when these boys went into Kashmir. I myself have lived in Kashmir for 4 years. I've taught in a school in Srinagar.
You were there for a peace.
Peace move.
Yeah, you were there, and which I came to know. And ma'am, how was it going to Pakistan after your son got martyred?
Actually, my brother-in-law and all were very opposed to my going. But still, I had gone. And I remember something a boy from Atchison College told me. I said on stage, at that time the wound was still raw. I've lost my son. But I refused to change. In the sense, I always wore a sari, never a salwar kameez. But I was told that you can wear a salwar kameez if you wish. I always wore a sari. I always wore my bindi. Now I wear black. That time it used to be red. And I went up on stage. I said, I am a Hindu Brahmin wife. My husband is in the Indian Army, still serving. And I have lost my son due to insurgent action. My only son. Afterwards, some people came up and said, "Baji, kabhi ये मत बोलिए कि आपका बेटा शहीद हो गया, आपका नहीं, शहीद का कोई कौम नहीं होता."
Ma'am, I would like to know that as I was chatting with you just before this interview, you said that I'm very proud of my son. You did tell me that you are very proud of your son, and you've accepted it. But ma'am, at that point of time, you had a phone call with him, you just said, and I'm sure you did not accept him to go.
No, that no mother accepts. In fact, initially, I would weep a lot. I was given sleeping pills. At that time, my husband was very strong. My daughter was already married in the US. She came, but she had to go back. I even tried to commit suicide twice. But then slowly, acceptance comes. Somebody told me that we all have our karma. You are destined to live a certain period of years or do your duty for a certain period of time on earth. Your son was very fortunate that his lifespan was so, his sufferings were so small. That I'm 75, bearing this burden of grief and living. It is my karma. But without acceptance, there is no peace.
Ma'am, so it is very evident that your love for the country, because ma'am, again, your son, as you said, he always wanted to join the Indian Army. So it is somewhere your upbringing to love the country. You have taught your son so.
You see, so far as he was concerned, it is the battalion. The loyalty first and foremost is to the regiment. It was his father's regiment he joined. This was the same logo or the same hat that his father wore.
Could you please show it to us on the camera? This is your son's?
Yes. This is his belt, again
This is his
the
belt.
same logo. This is the flag his body was draped in. He wanted to join the army, he wanted to join his father's battalion. How much of it was for the country, I don't know. But lately, I've started, I think I'm getting old. I lose my temper sometimes at these bank people or somebody who's recalcitrant. I mean, refuses to understand. And once I told the manager that you're sitting in that chair very comfortably. You'll go back home, have a meal with your children. It's all because of people like my son. And not my son, sons all over,
Right.
who died with their boots on, not in their beds, not comfortably. When they had brought his body, I said, I must see him. They tried to prevent me. I said, no, I'll never believe unless I see him. I was lucky they brought my son home. Many people have not seen their sons. And there was just one single bullet hole here. Ar kottao kichu chilo na. Had the bullet hit even 2 inches away, he might have survived. It was a sharpshooter who got him. So, I had gone to Pakistan and they asked me, why have you come? I said, look, I have suffered as a mother, but I want no woman, no daughter, no mother, no wife to go through the same pain. It is the woman who always suffer. Yes, a man dies. Yes, he sacrifices his life for the nation. But the sufferings of those who are left behind, often people don't think about.
Right, right. How was your son in childhood, as a child?
He was, I would say, a rondu.
Used to cry all the time?
Yeah. But they still remember him that way in the battalion. But when he took to riding, he suddenly grew up.
You have been a teacher all your life. 29 years you taught English in a very reputed school, a convent school. It is the same institution from which I come from. It's the same institution. So ma'am, I want to know that being a teacher, because you instantly, after a few days, you joined back your work and you were teaching kids, educating them. Did it help you to heal from the pain you were talking about?
Definitely. Particularly, you start and looking at most children as a sort of surrogate for your son. Like even these young boys around, I don't mind. They can do anything in this house because for me, they are like a surrogate for my son. Though had he been alive today, he would have been 45. But when he died, he was this age.
He was 24 when he was martyred. Ma'am, at the last conversation you had with your son?
The evening before he died. But it was a very ordinary mother to son conversation. I mean, you asked me what he was like as a child. He was always mama's boy. Like, after he was commissioned and all, he wanted a Royal Enfield motorcycle. बचपन से देखा है dispatch rider भट करके आता है. Later when he died, the bike came home. I didn't know what to do with it. Then I gave it to one of his friends, and he sends me a picture every time it's Manik's birthday. Auntie, look, I'm still looking after the bike.
How nice. How nice. When's your son's birthday?
12th December. What was bad was, I mean, for me, apart from the grief, the pain, I knew from day one that this loneliness that I have, you see, your husband dies. My daughter was already married and they were going to go settle abroad. Living alone by myself. And Ashuk hule, Kichu hule. I go to the doctor and they ask me, Apni aka ishin? I said, yes, who will come with me? And they said promptly, have you got a wheelchair? I said, no, I walked. So that thing is there.
This is, in my career so far, as a filmmaker, as a writer, as a presenter, this is the best conversation I've ever had so far.
You're being complimentary.
And ma'am, I salute you as a mother myself, and I'm sure the entire country is saluting you today, and all the mothers who have sacrificed their sons for the nation, ma'am. Thank you so much for being a part of this show.
Thank you. I would have one word of advice for all mothers. Let your children do whatever they want. Take up whatever profession. It doesn't matter. It's their life. Let them lead it their way.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure that piece of advice will help a lot of mothers, growing their sons up and daughters up as well. And ma'am, we have a very small gift for you. Ma'am, so designer and painter Yogita Kichlu has sent this for you. This is a painting, a piece of art from Yogita Kichlu's collection. And ma'am, we also have a few of her designs for you, ma'am. And ma'am, this is a very, very small gift from the entire crew and team for you.